domestic evening together. Just the two of us, sipping punch and reminiscing. What can they make of that, I wonder?
I think it best to be discreet for the time being, Chief.
I'm always discreet.
Of course. I mean, that damn press fellow was very persistent about Miss Baldwin.
My dear Dolby, Miss Baldwin is of an age to be my daughter.
Exactly. My, that punch smells good.
Recipe of my brother Fred. A first-class maker of punch was poor Fred.
Far better off spending a few quiet evenings sipping dear old Fred's punch.
Yes, maybe you're right.
I'll give you a chance to get over that wretched cold of yours before your next public appearance.
Perhaps it will. Damn boring all the same.
Well, there's always letter writing home.
I do no end of that already.
Reading.
Will you ask a man who habitually writes all night to read all night as well?
You know, they have some damn fine writers, you know, these Yankees. Bret Harte, Washington Irving, E.A. Poe. Have you read E.A. Poe? You keep you awake at night.
Read him? My dear fellow, I nearly got caught up in one of his stories.
Caught in a story? However was that?
Well, since we seem to be trapped here together and have to amuse ourselves, I should tell you the whole matter.
I should be most privileged, Chief.
Yes, you would. I've never told another living soul, and I solemnly swore never to write down a word of it. It happened on my first visit to these United States of America in 1842. I was under great strain, both professionally and personally. Our dear Georgina and friends were looking after our brood of children. Catherine needed the change, but she was loath to leave the children and full of fears and aches and pains.
Good evening, Mr. Dickens, sir. Oh. Oh, there's the thing. Polite as anything, as Mr. Dickens, as a rule, always has a greeting.
Would you please send the porter up to say that I have been waiting the entire evening?
I hardly think so. You can see for yourself, some sort of tiff. Well, marriage is the same, I guess, whether you're a great man or not. Women will be women.
I deeply relish your philosophy, sir, but would esteem it a great kindness if you would send the porter up to inform Mr. Dickens that Mr. Edgar Allan Poe is waiting on him.
Don't rightly see I can do that, Mr. What'd you say your name was?
I am not blaming you, my dear.
You certainly look as if you are.
Well, I cannot help my look, just as you apparently cannot help getting headaches in the middle of very interesting and important discussions.
How important, sir.
Yes, very important to us.
Well, you should have stayed and continued your important discussion.
I couldn't allow you to bring yourself home.
I should have managed with the aid of a cab.
I suggest we stop this useless wrangling, and you should go to bed.
I am not tired.
You have a headache and should go to bed.
I have a headache because I am sick and tired of all this wretched talk about national copyright.
International copyright.
Oh, I don't care.
Well, you should care. It means a considerable amount of money, which I'm sure that you and your enormous family would very happily spend for me.
My enormous family?
International copyright is a matter of justice for authors everywhere. I mean, look at the way my books are pirated in this wretched but very rich country. Just look at them, dozens of them. And because we have no international copyright, not one penny of it comes to you, to me, or to your enormous family.
Why isn't it ever your enormous family? I seem to remember that you were somewhat involved.
Catherine, I will not have coarseness, even if you have a headache and are somewhat hysterical.
Oh, damn your pirated books! I am not hysterical.
I will not have coarseness. You are hysterical.
Well, haven't I some right to be? First of all, there was that appalling crossing with everyone sick all the time, the sea as high as a cliff. Now, don't you say that you enjoyed that.
I bear with the sea as I do with all the mysteries of the universe, including the temperament of women.
It hardly needs a special kind of temperament to be exhausted by the worst Atlantic crossing ever.
Now, please don't exaggerate, my dear.
You write so yourself to John Forster? Oh, very amusingly, no doubt. But it was a horror. And then in Halifax, my face was, as you so wittily wrote to John, quite hideously swollen.
So it was.
And then no sooner do we meet some nice people, like Mr. Longfellow and Mr. Dana in Boston, when you have to talk about copyright, and the very next day the newspapers hate us.
We are not here purely for pleasure, my dear.
That is certainly true. And then we meet some more nice people in Hartford, and you have to talk about copyright again.
Yes, I begin to make my point
And
felt.
so we get to New York. We meet that charming Washington Irving.
Now, Irving
and-
happens to agree with me on this matter.
Oh, yes, but you're still talking about copyright, and then you start investigating their jails.
Why not? My work in social reform.
So
I'm not going to
we
ignore
get
their jail.
to this wretched Philadelphia. And not only are you still talking about slavery, which I hate people even to notice.
Notice? How can one fail to notice such a blot on the entire human race?
You have to talk about copyright again, which they hate as much as slavery.
Yes, no doubt they do, because it is going to cost them a considerable fortune, which they are stealing, Catherine. Stealing from us. Not from poor blacks, but from us.
Oh, I can't bear it.
Well, you will have to bear it. And so will they. International copyright is a matter of justice. And I mean to solicit support throughout this entire tour.
Why can't we just enjoy ourselves like ordinary people?
So stupid, Catherine. We are not ordinary people.
But I am, Charles. I am. I am, and I want to be. And I want us to be. And I don't like copyright at all. And I... Oh, please, Charles.
All right. Come along. Come on, up you come. You silly little tittlemouse.
Oh.
Now, come on. I'll settle you down.
You know, Charlie, I don't know that I am stupid.
No,
but
don't even think about it. Now, come on, just lie down. I want you to relax, will you? Just relax completely.
Are you going to mesmerize me?
Yes, I think I'd better. Now, you completely relaxed?
Yes, I'm ready to...
Good. Now, just relax completely, will you? All right? And just concentrate. Concentrate. Now, your eyes are getting very, very heavy. Your eyelids are dropping. You can't keep them open. And you're beginning to feel very, very peaceful. You're going into a delicious, deep sleep. Deeper and deeper. Deeper and deeper. And you will sleep till I tell you to wake.
Of course, so far as I'm concerned, you can sit there the whole of the night. But ain't you got a home to go to, friend? I mean, it's more than my job's worth to disturb a guest so important as your Mr. Dickens after he retired. I mean, think of the risk to me. Well, I guess it'd have to be worth $1 or $2, even $5. Certainly a couple.
I have nothing for you of value, my friend. Except, perhaps, my autograph.
Listen to that, then. Are you somebody, then, sir?
Mr. Dickens. I knew that our meeting had to be. All the little devils and demons of this accursed city could not prevent it. Oh, my dear sir. My very esteemed and distinguished sir.
Yes, well, forgive me, sir, but do I know you?
I am Poe.
Oh, yes.
Edgar Allan Poe
Yes.
of Graham's magazine, you remember, sir? Well, you recollect I published a prospective notice of your excellent Barnaby Rudge in May of last year. Well, I enclosed a copy of it with my letter and the 2 volumes of my Tales of the Grotesque.
Oh, yes, of course.
I delivered them myself yesterday, sir.
Forgive me, my dear Mr. Poe. Yes, indeed. Send us a bottle of port, would you? Or preferably a good bottle of Madeira, if you have one.
Of course we have it, Mr. Dickens, sir. I'll get it myself, sir.
Sit down, my dear fellow. Relax. Have a glass. I've had a damnable evening. Yes, a damnable evening.
Oh, Mr. Dickens. I am absolutely delighted. Thrilled. Well, in fact, I'm quite overwhelmed. I mean, to finally meet you, sir.
My dear fellow, how very kind of you. But then everyone, all my American colleagues without exception, have been more than kind. Press, of course, a different matter.
Scribblers, hacks. I read their reactions to your perfectly just pleas for international copyright.
Ah, you agree with me then, Mr. Poe?
What author would not agree?
Well, I'm delighted to have your support. Delighted.
When I find an English publisher, as I am sure I will soon.
Yes, of course you will.
In fact, perhaps you might, even yourself, make some suggestion in that direction.
Yes, well, we shall certainly have to think. Ah, yes, good. Here's our wine.
I think you'll find this very much to your liking, Mr. Dickens, sir. The mayor himself drinks it.
Oh. Excellent, thank you. Oh, Mr. Poe, I'm sorry. I trust that Madeira is to your liking. I own I have a weakness for it.
It's of no matter to me, sir. I don't partake.
You don't? Does that mean I should be drinking alone?
Oh, well, enjoy your wine, sir. And allow me to enjoy the fine bouquet of your company and conversation.
Well, forgive me if I do partake. Sometimes I'm afraid even a little excessively. Oh, God, it has been a damnable evening.
Yes, I saw you enter.
Ah.
With Mrs. Dickens. She seemed a little put out.
Yes, you noticed that, did you?
I simply observed the lady walked with a certain distress.
Ah, you are keen, sir.
Well, observation of the dispositions of people as betrayed by their walk and posture is of particular interest to me.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, it would be.
I believe development of the powers of deduction is a prime requisite of the author.
Yes, of course.
In my prospective notice of your Barnaby Rudge, published in the Philadelphia Saturday Evening Post, May 1st, 1841.
May 1st. Really, was it indeed?
May 1st, 1841, you note. And your novel began in number 46 of Master Humphrey's Clock, published February 13, 1841.
Good Lord. Do you know, your recollection of detail is far keener than my own. You know, I can never remember dates.
The dates are of fundamental importance, Mr. Dickens, for they prove my claim.
Claim?
That having read only 7 pages of your story, I was able to deduce the essential developments of its plot.
Are you really? Good Lord, I do congratulate you. See, the truth is, Mr. Poe, that I myself had no idea in which direction the story was moving me.
Yes, I believe you, Mr. Dickens. But surely this prediction of mine came to your attention.
No, forgive me, Mr. Poe. I was not aware of your remarkable prediction.
But it was reported that you had read my prediction and exclaimed, quote, "The man must be a devil," unquote.
Oh, good Lord. Of course, Mr. Poe, you've been one of my keenest supporters in America ever since the earliest days.
Indeed I have.
Yes, indeed, since the publication of those pirated sketches by Buzz under the title...
Watkins, Tuttle, and Other Sketches.
Pirated.
I wrote, quote, that in regard to their author, we know nothing more than that he is a far more pungent, more witty, and better disciplined writer of sly sketches than 9/10 of the magazine writers of Greater Britain, unquote.
You know, your memory, your recollection is quite singular, Mr. Poe. I congratulate you.
Further, quote, the Black Veil is distinguished in character from all the rest. An act of stirring tragedy evincing lofty powers in the rider.
Unquote?
Unquote. Oh, that piece, I believe to be one of your greatest.
Oh, well, my dear fellow, what can I say except thank you. Thank you 1,000 times. Look, please, now, look, I'm going to insist, I beg of you. One small glass of Madeira to celebrate our meeting. Hmm?
Well, it has been an honor for me, Mr. Dickens, to bring what powers I have to the critical evaluation of your work. So I will perhaps take the smallest glass with you.
Oh, well, my dear fellow, I'm delighted.
Enough! Enough.
Oh, well, as you please. Now, shall we drink a toast?
Oh, to whatever you please, sir.
To one another.
To Charles Dickens, the inimitable.
Oh, thank you. Well, to my very good friend and colleague,
Edgar Allan
Poe. Indeed, yes. The extraordinary Mr. Poe.
It's like a death for nothing, but my God, Captain Dickens, you are a hell of a walking man.
And you, Captain Poe, who do not partake, give a damn fine impression of a serious drinker, do you realize? That was 3 dead soldiers we left back there at the outpost, and not a sign of wear upon you, sir. I congratulate you.
Take it easy, Captain. Take it easy. We're coming into enemy territory.
Surrounded?
I smell an ambush.
Yes, so do I. But the question is it fresh ham or smoked ham? Fresh ham or smoked ham?
I think we better go to grounds.
Hold hard, General. General. Hey, Poe. Devil did you go, Poe? Go, Poe. Pogo. Poe! Hey, Poe! Poe? Devil is a lunatic.
General Dickens, can you hear me, sir? This way, down here. I found a friendly frontier post.
Coming, Captain!
The true soured blood of this bloody sour country, where men stand up and take their medicine like the brutes they are.
Well, if you say so. Seems to me, Mr. Poe, you're not entirely enamored of this great country of yours.
Excuse me, sir. I'm a patriot.
Oh, beg your pardon.
I loathe, detest, and condemn the miserable Yankee. They sell our traditions down the river while smuggling our Negroes.
It seems to me I've already visited this argument once tonight and lost a wife in the process. I'm not going to argue with you, Mr. Poe. I enjoy your company too much.
To the United States of America.
With all my heart.
Is there something wrong with our national drink, Mr. Dickens? Do you class it with our jails and slaves and other great institutions?
But I'm sure it all finds the same spot in the end. Your health, Mr. Poe.
Damn my health. I think only of my country, sir. And of that divine creature whose least glance... It's a bayonet in my vitals. Bayonet, sir.
What?
Do me the courtesy, sir, not to pry into the intimate details of my life. I warn you, you will find there such horrors and mysteries as will turn your hair white this night.
Forgive me, Mr. Poe. I had no intention of prying.
Think nothing of it, Captain. Welcome to the mess, sir. Come, we will teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
Well, this really is a den of iniquity, isn't it? There's 4 fallen women.
You may rescue them for $1 a tale. They have no heads left, of course.
Tell me, was that opium those fellows were smoking back there?
Indeed, I do believe it was. You take a pipe, sir. Quality is moderate to good here, as I remember.
Why, do you yourself?
Oh, I do, sir. That, and any other vice my absurd, ridiculous, degraded means will afford me. You see, I am a miserable, decayed dog, Mr. Dickens. But a genius, sir. An authentic and rare genius, as I will prove to you before you leave our cursed city.
Yes, I'm sure you will. And it will be an unforgettable experience.
Is that so?
Yes, that is so. Look, take it easy, my dear fellow. As they say all the time in this country. While taking it very hard indeed. Now, let's talk of unimportant things.
Never.
Oh, well, please yourself. I've had a damnable evening.
You refer to our meeting, sir.
No, no. Look, damn it, what a touchy fellow you are, to be sure. If I can just talk to you frankly as man to man, the fact is that my wife was in a fine state of nervous apprehension and so on and so forth tonight. The only way I could get her to sleep was to mesmerize her. This is a process which calms her, but leaves me quite drained.
Mesmerize?
Yes, mesmerize. I know some people deny that it works, but I have a small skill in it.
Fools! Poltroons, idiots! Cretins and imbeciles!
Not quite with you. Do you mean us or them?
Mesmerism and mesmerphrenology will change the world. Now I, who am perhaps the greatest exponent of mesmeric power in this idiotic country, have proved it. And the world will soon know and shudder at my discoveries.
Well, I think you're placing your value a little high, but I'm glad you're agreed about the effects and the effectiveness of mesmerism.
May I confide in you, sir?
Yes, I suppose so, if you will.
I believe that I am intended to communicate to you the substance of the most shattering experiment of my life. For you must know, dear sir, that my entire life has been and is devoted to a series of spectacularly dangerous experiments on the very edge of madness and destruction.
Well, I'm sure that's a little extreme.
Will you make yourself available at midnight tomorrow?
Well, I don't know if that's convenient. I shall have to check with my secretary and see what arrangements he's made for.
Oh, damn all secretaries, damn all arrangements!
Please, take it easy. All right, come on, you tell me. What is this amazing experiment you wish me to witness?
I have mesmerized a gentleman on the point of death. Several months ago, this gentleman, being on the point of death and himself involved in such experiments, agreed that I might mesmerize him at the very moment of his death. Several times a week since, I've been to see him, where he lies in a state of total suspended animation. And there, I converse with him on matters which may not be discussed by the light of day.
About what?
Secrets of the world to come. Now join me at tomorrow night's session, please.
I will.
Mr. Dickens.
I will. I think I will. You know, Mr. Poe, you have the knack of raising the most uncanny expectations.
Yes. Yes. I do. Don't I? Well, and now, Mr. Dickens, I shall recite to you my greatest poem. Indeed, one of the greatest poems in our language. Me, 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 ma, 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 ma. Just tuning the voice, Mr. Dickens. Just tuning the voice. Me, 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 ma, 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 ma.
My dear fellow, you realize it's turned 3 o'clock? I really shall have to deny myself.
You wish to leave, sir?
Well, it is rather late.
Precisely the moment I'm about to demonstrate my undeniable genius. At exactly the moment I am about to recite to you one of the greatest poems ever composed in the English language. You have no time to listen. Mr. Dickens is too grand. Mr. Dickens is too famous to waste precious moments on a poor, neglected poet. A neglected poet! A poet, I say, of the highest talent, of the greatest compositional ability, a perfectionist of amazing powers, and yet... Neglected, ignored, left to starve. His loved ones in want. Oh, my dearest Eleonora, forgive me.
My dear Mr. Poe, I would be very honored and happy to hear your poem.
My dear, have you been for one of your early morning mad walks?
Could put it that way.
That's right, dear. You always feel better after violent exercise.
I feel better. I wasn't the one who was feeling unwell last night. Come to think of it, why aren't you still mesmerized?
Well, why am I not? Oh, I suppose I just slept it off.
Slept it off? Well, you shouldn't have done. Anyway, so long as you've slept well.
Oh, divinely. I feel most rested. I've been reading some fascinating stories by this brilliant young American writer, Mr. Edgar A. Poe. What is it, dear?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
You know, his tales are fascinating, but they're rather frightening.
Yes, I can imagine.
Charles,
Huh?
would you like some coffee?
No, thank you. Oh, I've got to get some sleep.
Charles, why don't you get into bed and I'll read you one of Mr. Poe's tales. There's an absolutely horrid one that you would love.
Thank you. I think I know it. Good night.
Good morning.
The conditions filthy and appalling. The stench, the rats.
Charles?
Yes, what is it, Cassie?
Charles, you were walking all last night. Will you write all tonight?
Yes, very possibly I will. Look, why aren't you asleep? I mean, you're the one who's always complaining of headaches and sore throats and all the rest of it. Now, sleep it off, my dear.
I can't sleep.
Catherine, please. Look, you're disturbing all my papers.
Here it is. I shall just take Mr. Poe's book and disappear out of your life.
How do you expect to sleep if you read all night?
Well, what am I supposed to do? Lie there alone in the dark and suffer?
What are his stories like?
Quite brilliant, actually. They're frightening, but they are very clever.
Gothic.
Quite brilliant. You know, I think they would go down very well in England.
Yes, well, Mr. Poe will have to find an English publisher first.
Do come to bed, Charlie. I'm lonely in this horrid city.
Ah, my poor little tittle mouse. Well, look, I shall just work for half an hour or so past midnight.
Oh, must you?
Yes, dear, I must. I'm writing to John Foster, telling him all about my prison investigation. Now, just an hour or so.
Well, then will you come to bed?
Yes, I will. Shall I mesmerize you?
Not if you come to bed, you needn't. Charles, if you aren't there by 12:30, I shall come in and drag you off like one of Mr. Poe's monsters.
The cell's profoundly dark, and so offensive and disgusting that you couldn't bear the stench. A man died in there recently and was, within an hour, half-eaten by rats. Sober enough to remember, which I doubt. Oh, damn the fellow. Windbag. Poe by name, an empty chamber by nature. Damn the fellow. Hey-ho.
The nature of the experiment you are about to observe is such as to require total secrecy. For it does, in several ways, technically breach the limited laws of this land.
Yes, I understand.
So I must ask you to swear, by all you hold dear and holy, never to reveal, talk about, or especially write a single word concerning this meeting of ours and its occasion.
My dear Mr. Poe, I do assure you.
Swear, or I must return you forthwith to your hotel.
Of course, my dear fellow, I do so swear. Please, you can rely on my absolute discretion.
I thank you. I think I can promise you a most rewarding and interesting evening.
It's a cold night, isn't it? Will you,
Thank you, I do not indulge.
You do not?
Never.
Well, if you say so. Perhaps you'd like to tell me in greater detail about this experiment of yours.
Very well. About 9 months ago, it occurred to me, quite suddenly, that no person had as yet been mesmerized in articulo mortis.
At the point of death,
It raises questions, of course. Firstly, whether under such conditions there exists in the patient any susceptibility to the magnetic influence. Secondly, if it does exist, whether it is impaired or increased by the condition. Thirdly, to what extent or for how long the encroachment of death is arrested by the process.
Yes, of course, death could be suspended. A kind of living death induced.
Exactly. I see the idea has caught your imagination as it did my own.
Where are we going?
You must understand that I cannot be as frank with you about names and places as I would wish to be. Let me simply say that our subject tonight is a most distinguished gentleman. A student of our subject himself for many years, who several months ago was declared to be in a state of advanced thesis, a disease which would admit an exact calculation in respect of its termination in death. So, this gentleman agreed to send for me 24 hours before the time predicted as that of his imminent decease. This is the note that I received.
My dear Poe, you may as well come at once. They are agreed I cannot hold out beyond tomorrow midnight, and I think they have hit the time very nearly. V.
I received that note half an hour after it was written. Only 15 minutes more, I was in the dying man's chamber, appalled at the fearful alteration in him. It was the opinion of both his physicians that Mr. V would die within the next half hour. Or hour, at the most. With surprising strength, he dismissed his doctors, telling them not to bother to return. You wish to continue?
Yes. But I fear you have deferred it too long.
Let us see.
Now, you will sleep. You will sleep. Peacefully. Sleep, I say. I command you to sleep. Are you still with me?
I am here.
Sleep then. Sleep peacefully. His pulse was imperceptible. Breathing barely noticeable. This condition continued for a quarter of an hour when a very deep sigh escaped him. His extremities were of an icy coldness. The subject was in a state of mesmeric trance. It's incredible. Thus I left him for some time, between two worlds, a sleeping death.
Did you question him?
Oh, yes, I questioned him. After a few routine exercises, I spoke to the subject thus. Are you asleep? Answer me. Are you asleep?
Yes, asleep now. Don't wake me. I am dying.
Do you still feel pain in the breast?
No pain. I am dying.
But sleeping.
Sleeping. And dying.
Are you telling me, Mr. Poe, that this is the present condition of this unfortunate gentleman?
That was 7 months ago.
7 months?
Yes. For 7 months I have been to see him regularly. A visit to the living dead.
It's incredible.
You doubt my word?
No, but I mean...
Very well. No more words till you have seen the evidence.
But, Mr. Poe, 7 months? Surely in that time there must be the most appalling physical deterioration. Some... The imagination is repelled at the thought of it. I mean, the flesh...
No more words, Mr. Dickens. You shall see with your own eyes. Enter. My friend, Mr. V, is quite harmless, Mr. Dickens. Come. Let me introduce you. I ask you, Mr. Dickens, to say nothing and make no interruption, regardless of what may transpire.
Yes, I understand.
V, are you asleep? Answer me. Are you sleeping?
No.
What do you mean?
Yes.
What do you mean? No, yes. Some change has taken place.
Oh, for the love of God, do something for this poor soul.
Do something? Have I not done the impossible already? Where are you, V?
My soul is in torment. For God's sake, Poe.
Dickens, be quiet! Or get out! Where is your soul?
Pain. Pain.
But your body is here. The corporeal you is here. Sleeping.
Yes, yes.
The body, then, is merely a receptacle?
Shroud.
What?
Shroud.
I do not understand you.
The shroud of the soul.
Where is your soul now?
I cannot say.
You must. I command you.
You command only my body, not my soul.
Release him, Poe. V, you will provide me with clear evidence that there is a life beyond the material world.
I am dead.
Not yet. You still sleep.
I have been sleeping. But now, I am dead.
No! I command you!
For God's sake, Poe!
As you please.
Mr. V, what are your feelings, your wishes, as of this moment in our time? For God's sake, put me to sleep. Oh, wake me quick, quick. I say to you that I am dead. Wake him, Poe. Wake him.
Wake, V. I command you to wake.
Dead.
Wake!
Dead.
Wake!
Dead.
Awake! Must you leave us so soon, Mr. Dickens? No doubt you have many more important appointments. This is the one we all keep in the end, Mr. Dickens. Ointment with the worm.
Well, what do you make of that, Dolby?
A damn fine tale, Chief.
More punch?
Thank you. Yes. I do partake. Have I not heard that Poe was a victim of alcohol?
Yes, indeed he was. In fact, he died of it shortly after our encounter.
He seems to have been a remarkable man.
Indeed.
Great turn for the dramatic.
Yes, indeed.
And I would say a touch of the hoaxer.
Yes. As Lowell said of him, here comes Poe with his raven like Barnaby Rudge, 3/5 of him genius, and 2/3 sheer fudge.
Yes, I would say quite a touch of the hoaxer.
My dear Dolby, are you suggesting that perhaps Mr. Poe deceived me in some way?
I am suggesting that either Mr. Poe deceived you, or that you just about almost deceived me.
Come on, Dolby. What are you saying?
No, you come on, Chief. You just made the whole story
No,
up.
I insist that you never mention a word of this to another living soul.
Oh, Chief.
No, swear. Swear. By all you hold sacred, never to mention these dreadful matters again.
I swear.
Good enough.
Good Lord. Chief.
Yes, Dolby?
Did I ever tell you about the time that I was traveling in New England and I ran into this very, very old fellow with a very, very long beard who had apparently been sleeping for a very, very long time in a very, very deep cave?
No, I don't think you did.
Winkle, his name was. Rip Van Winkle.
Van Winkle? Curious name.
Was a curious fellow.
Well, tell me all about it, Dolby.
I will, Chief. You see, I was traveling in New England when I ran into this very, very old fellow with a very, very long time. Why?